Hello, everyone. What is going on? I hope you guys are having a great start to your day. I literally just rocked out of the shower, so don't mind my wet hair, but really excited to be with you guys here today to talk about planning. And if this is your first time tuning in, Kendra Perry, online business mentor for online coaches. And I post videos every single Thursday. Typically, they're not live. This is just an exception. Um, but subscribe to my channel if you are an online coach and you're trying to grow your business. If you're not making 5K a month at least, then I'm your girl because I will help you hit that first milestone. Okay, so today we are talking about planning. And I know that, planning seems really overwhelming. People are typically really resistant to planning, myself included. I literally only planned like into the after the first quarter of 2020. So this year, only because I totally screwed myself over. And that's typically what happens when people are not planning, is that you kind of put yourself in a situation where you're not prepared and then shit kind of goes sideways. Okay. This is very common. And I know a lot of my students inside both my mastermind and Health Coach Accelerator are typically like fairly resistant to planning because they're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Right. And I think something to keep in mind with planning is what we're doing when we are building out a plan is we're building a flexible plan. Okay. So just because you make a plan doesn't mean you have to stick to it no matter what. But basically, you want to make a plan for the year, a general plan, and then you want to revisit it every quarter and see how things have shifted and sort of like replan, I guess. And so, guys, if you're on right now, say hello. Let me know you're here in the comments. And I do have a planning guide. It's just not quite ready yet. So I am going to post that into the replay description. So for all of you guys who are watching the replay, you'll be able to access the 2021 planning journal, and it's just basic. But any journal will do for this. But basically, and feel free to come back and watch this later and pause and that sort of thing if you actually want to kind of like go through the exercise with me. Okay. So I want to tell you about what happened to me in 2020. So I did not plan, and I was like, I hate planning. I'm a spontaneous person. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. Hey, Julie. Hey, Jane. Michael's here. What's up, guys? Say hello. Cool. Okay. So I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I looked at my 2020 at the first quarter and I had so much stuff. Like I was like launching a mastermind. I was running a live event. I was launching one of my programs. And I remember looking at these 3 months ahead and I like felt really overwhelmed, and I literally got burned out just looking at it because I was like, oh my God, how did I do this? And I remember showing this to my business coach, and she was like, what the fuck, Kendra? I was like, oh, she's like, you need to plan. And I'm like, oh my God. And literally the only thing that actually saved me was the shutdowns and COVID, because I wasn't able to travel to Colorado for my live event because I'm in Canada, and that took a ton of stuff off my plate. And that's when I realized I needed to plan for the rest of the year. So I started putting everything on my calendar for the rest of the year. So right now I'm planned out for 2021. Is that exactly what's going to unfold? Probably not, right? Because life happens. Something I actually learned from 2020 is that you can't get too attached to your plan, right? A lot of people had to kind of like, fly by the seat of their pants this year because there was just so much unexpected stuff, clearly, right? So the first thing you want to do when you're planning is actually to reflect, right? You want to reflect on 2020 in terms of your professional life, your personal life, and think about like the things that went really well. Like I always like to start with the positive. You're like, okay, in my business this year, like what worked really well for me? Like what went well? What was I really excited about? What went really well for me and my business? Like what strategy worked really well? Like, maybe you got into Instagram Reels this year and you're like, wow, Reels gave me a lot of bang for my buck. So that worked. That was cool. And just spend a bit of time writing down everything that went really well for you this year. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do is once you go for. And so I have a little list here for things that went really well. But like, did you set some boundaries that worked really well for you? You know, did you say no to something and you were like, yeah, that was actually a really good decision and that went really well for me? Did you do some business development stuff? Did you take a course or invest into learning something like, you know, maybe a social media platform or a type of marketing, or maybe you invested in one of my workshops and you're like, that was really well. I learned a lot from that. Like, write that down. Did you launch anything, right? Did you launch a group program, a course, a membership, anything new, like a workshop? And you're like, yeah, that went really well. I got a lot of good engagement. People bought, that went really well, right? So things like that, you want to go through everything and think about, you know, what went really well. So personally for me, boundaries actually went really well for me. This is the first time I really learned internal and personal boundaries. I've been really good at boundaries with other people. Like I'm very good at being like, nope, nope, nope. But personally, I was breaking my own boundaries. And luckily I had a coach this year who called me out on that. And so this year I got very good at respecting my own boundaries. So that went really well for me. Business development went really well for me too. I was in a leadership program. I bought a few courses, and all the courses I invested in helped me move my business forward. So that went really well. Okay. I got really clear on what I want my business to look like. So I got very clear on my business model. So the way in which I'm going to be generating income. I tried a bunch of different things that, didn't work this year, at least for me. Didn't feel right. So by the end of this year, I have it totally clear what I actually want my business and my day to day to look like. So that's really important. I launched a bunch of live programs, loved it. And I took July, August off. I was still working, but I was just kind of doing like maintenance activities. I wasn't, bringing in anything new. I had no major projects. And that was awesome. Both me and my team were pretty stoked on that. And all my launches this year actually went really well. So that's what I put down on my things that went well. The next thing you want to think about are like, okay, what didn't work for me, right? Like, so, open your journal. Okay, so what didn't work for me? So me personally, overscheduling myself in the first quarter did not work. That was crazy. I felt incredibly overwhelmed. I didn't feel excited. I felt stressed out. I had too much on my plate, too many deadlines. Didn't like that, right? I like to live a pretty low-key, chill lifestyle. And I didn't get to ski as much as I wanted to because I'm a skier and it's winter and I love winter. So that didn't go very well for me. Live events did not go well for me, obviously. With our mastermind program, we were supposed to run 2 live events in Colorado. Couldn't happen because, well, my co-host is in Europe. I'm in Canada. Couldn't get into the States. And I was never very sold on live events to begin with. This was kind of like the one time where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try this. And so I actually feel like that was a sign from the universe saying like, probably not going to do live events that involve international people. I am interested in doing live events with my local community, but not international people. And then I also launched a do-it-yourself course in May, and the launch went great, but I realized that I don't like launching DIY courses because I have no idea where my students are. I don't know how they're doing. I don't know if they're completing it. I don't have the ability to support them. And so that was something that a big lesson for me that didn't go well because I thought that that was the business model that I wanted. I thought I just wanted to sell these DIY courses, and that's not what ultimately I wanted. So that didn't go well. So I learned from that. Okay. So really you're just doing a brain dump around like what went really well and what didn't. And if you guys want to drop anything in the comments, if you want to tell me like something that went really well for you this year and something that didn't go very well for you this year, drop it in the comments because this reflection piece is really, really important because obviously we want to amplify and optimize the things that went well, and the things that didn't go well, we want to get rid of them, even if we think we should be doing that. So we want to kind of leave those shoulds at the door because if it didn't go well for us, we don't want to be doing it. Okay, the next thing you want to consider is what do you actually want your lifestyle to look like in 2021? And this is typically a really complicated and hard question for people to answer because what you need to think about is like, what do you want your day-to-day to look like? And I want you to spend some time on this, right? And when I ask students this question, they typically are like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And this is really important to know because you won't know what type of business is going to work for you if you don't know what your day-to-day life looks like or what you want your day-to-day life to look like, right? So I'm going to give you an example from my own life and business. This might help, but again, this is mine. So what you want your business and day to day to look like for a workday may be totally different, and that is okay. Okay. So personally, I like to wake up pretty early. I like to wake up around like 5:30, 6 a.m. And I wake up naturally. I don't wake up with an alarm clock. If I sleep later than that, that's cool. Hate alarm clocks. And then I like to have a really nice morning routine. I like to go for a walk. I like to get my infrared sauna. I like to meditate. I like to do breath work. And then as of recently, I've been getting in an ice bath on my deck. I do a cold plunge every morning. I also like to color and I like to read. So I don't do all those things in the morning, but I like to have a very long morning routine. Typically, today is an exception because I have a bit of a busy day today, but typically I don't really start work until between 9 or 10 a.m. So I really like that long, cruisy morning where I get to do kind of some combination of those things I just mentioned. Okay. Then I get to work, and the way in which I want to be working is I want to be primarily showing up um, on live calls. So I love teaching people in a live kind of webinar format, and I also love coaching people in that format as well. So that's really what I want. I want to have, virtually no one-on-one appointments, some meetings with my team, but mostly I'm coaching people through group programs. Okay. And so I do that. And really, I want the flexibility that my workday actually changes with the season, because depending on where we are in the season, I'm doing a different sport. So for example, it's wintertime, I go to the ski hill. I go for first chair because I want the POW turns, which means I don't really, most days, I want to have the ability to not start work until noon, right? Because it's going to take me 40 minutes to drive to the hill. I want to have an hour and a half to 2 hours of like ripping some laps, and then I got to drive home and go to work. So in the winter, that's very much what I want my schedule to look like. Whereas in the summer, I would actually like to start a little bit earlier, around 9, and be done around 2. Okay. And so I like a really short work day, and that really has to do with my energy type. If you guys are into human design, I'm a projector, which means that I don't do well working a lot of hours in the day, but I can actually get done, if I'm focused, a lot of work in like 4 to 5 hours, and that will work for me. And then in the evening, I like to, hang out with friends. I like to go to the gym. I like to do Pilates. I go biking, go to the beach. I like to do some sort of activity, spend time with friends, or be outside. So that's generally what I want my life to look like. And that's why one-on-one coaching doesn't work for me. Because that requires me to be too much. It requires me to work longer and have too much time in appointment, and it gives me less flexibility. Okay. So think about like what you actually want your day to look like. And this will help you determine, well, what is going to be the best way to make money. Okay. And so next you want to think about, well, what are going to be my primary offerings in terms of like, what are you going to be selling in 2021? And for you, that might just be one-on-one coaching, which is totally cool. I actually always recommend that people start with one-on-one coaching. It's the easiest thing to scale. It's the easiest thing to make money quickly, and it's the easiest way to get experience. Okay. But for some of you, you might say, well, I might be launching a group program, or maybe I want to launch an online course or a membership, or maybe I want to do a couple live workshops. So sit down and think of all the ways in which you are going to make money. And if that's just one way, if maybe you're like, I'm just going to do my one-on-one this year, that's cool too, right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you are considering launching something, you want to write that down as well. Okay. And then you want to structure how you were offering that sort of like around your lifestyle. Okay. So next thing you want to do, once you've kind of figured this out, is you want to actually get out a calendar. And me personally, I use Google Calendar. That works for me. I don't like paper calendars, but some people actually do really well by just having like a big ass like paper calendar to actually like get a bunch of highlighters and write everything down. So if you're going to do that, do it that way. I think you're going to need like 4 highlights, because you're going to need 4 highlighters. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to highlight out your time off, vacation time. Okay. Even if you're not sure exactly when it's going to be, but I recommend that you do this, even if you're like, well, I wanted to go to Bali and now I can't go to Bali. Still take the time off. Like I recommend every quarter that you take some amount of time off, even if it's like a half day or 1 day. Like you deserve that. You need some time to yourself. So every quarter, schedule out some time off. Or maybe you're like me, where you're going to just like block out the summer. The summer, I just do general maintenance business activities. take 3-4 day weekends. I go hiking, I do my camping, I do all my thing, my biking. Okay. Figure that out. You can always change this around, but put it on the calendar, because I find that a lot of people do not consider what they need to do personally. And this might even be like, well, I'm going to send my kids to summer camp, so this is the time where I'm going to need to like have time to like drive my kid to summer camp, because it's really important to know that, because when you get presented with opportunities throughout the year, you want to make sure that you're not overlapping them with like time that you actually intended to stay off, or when you have something going on, maybe some like personal event or like personal whatever, and it ends up conflicting, and then you just create a lot of stress for yourself. So I always start with personal, because I'm very much a lifestyle entrepreneur, and I want you to determine what you want your lifestyle to look like first, and then build your business around it, which I think is really, really important. Because what a lot of people end up doing, right, is they end up just creating a business that they hate, or they just create like a stressful job for themselves within their business. So let me know if you relate to that. Okay. The next thing I want you to do is highlight out any, so this is a different color highlighter, highlight out some of the times you are going to be launching. Okay. Now, if you are just doing one-on-one coaching, you're just going to be offering your one-on-one coaching program, you might skip this, right? Because you're not launching anything. But if you want to launch a group program, if you want to launch a workshop, a course, a membership, whatever it is, you need to block out that launch period. And that includes the open cart. So when the first day that the cart is open and people can buy, to the last day that the cart is open and they can buy. But also you want to make sure that the few weeks leading up to that, that you note that on your calendar as well, because that's when you're going to have a lot of things to do, right? Launching takes a ton of energy. You don't want to put other things going on during launching. You want to take minimal amount of clients. So let's say you're launching a group program, like try to block that out from private appointments or reduce it, because you're going to need a lot of time to show up on live video, to show up on social media, to be in your customer service inbox answering questions. And you're going to need those few weeks before to prep and do things like writing emails. Maybe you're going to be creating a challenge. Maybe you're going to be creating a webinar, right? Even if you're like, I want to do that, but I don't even know how to do that, like still you want to block that time out, especially that launch period. You want it on the calendar, even if you ultimately end up pushing it. So currently on my calendar, I have every single launch scheduled up for the year, but I will move it around depending, closer to the time. But I always try to know a month out when the actual dates are. That's because I have a team and I don't like to switch things last minute for my team members. I like them to know a month in advance that this is when, they're going to be onboarding. We're going to be bringing in new students, and they're going to be probably answering more questions in the customer support email. Okay. The third thing, so new color for your highlighter, is professional development. Okay. As online coaches, health coaches, wellness coaches, we fucking love personal development, right? We love taking courses where we learn more about health. This also includes any like business courses you do. I want you to either do this weekly, monthly, or quarterly, where you actually block out some time in your schedule to focus on professional development. Okay. So if you already know you're taking a course or a program, make sure you block out the time to work on that. So what I see a lot of people do is they like take on all these things and they're like, oh, this course, cool. And they sign up for it. And then they realize they have like almost no time in their schedule to actually work on it. So even if you have yet to plan out, taking a course, maybe block out you're like 2 hours on Friday, I'm going to work on personal development. And then if you end up signing up for a course, that's when you're going to work on it, right? Or maybe you're just going to, every Friday you're going to sit down and like spend some time researching, right? Or spend some time like learning about some aspect of your business. So you can do that weekly. Maybe you block out 1 day a month to do that, or maybe it's something you do quarterly. Maybe like 3 days a month, you just hunker down and do professional development. So this is something that I put into my calendars on Mondays. I'm currently in a program, and so I put aside a couple hours on Monday so I can work on the material for that program. Okay. So really, really important, because I have seen this so many times especially when I used to work with private clients, is they would like sign up to work with me. And then all of a sudden they like would take on this course and they didn't have time to do the stuff that we were working on together. And it was just like a waste of their money. And I was like, oh my God. So you got to plan for that as well. Okay. And then the final thing that you want to, okay, let me see here. Yes. So the final thing that you want to add in is your reassessment day each quarter. So I want you to put aside a few hours at the end of each quarter. So first quarter for 2021 is going to be the end of March. And I want you to look at the next quarter to 2 quarters ahead. So basically, this is when you sit down and you relook at things and you're like, okay, does everything make sense for the next quarter? Do I need to move these dates around? Do I need to cancel? Do I need to add something new in? And basically, you're just reassessing and redoing your plan if necessary. And that's where this like flexible framework comes into place, because, you know, while we love planning and we want to just plan everything else and want everything to go as planned, that's not the way it goes. Like life happens, right? Shit happens in life and prevents us from fully following through with our plans. So that's why we are creating a flexible plan. Okay. Now, the final thing I want you to do, and this might seem funny, it might not seem like a planning thing, but it is I want you to determine what your core business values are. Okay. Now, if you don't know what your core business values are, you can just Google core values, list of core values, and you will find you'll find like 100 plus like different values to choose from, and go through and look at this. And I should say, just say values in general. This is like business and personal values, but you want to look at this because this is what's going to help you determine if opportunities are right for you in 2021. Because the longer you are online, the more opportunities that you will be offered. So, you know, as an example from my life, I get offered tons of brand deals, like, you know, like legging companies, makeup companies, you know, all these different kind of like brands are always reaching out to me and wanting me to promote their shit. And it can seem really cool. You're like, oh, this is so awesome. I can like be like an influencer and I can like huck this product and maybe make some money. But a lot of these things are actually shiny objects in disguise, right? And they actually build someone else's business and not yours. Okay. So you want to think about your values. Okay. And anytime an opportunity gets presented to you in 2021, you want to ask yourself, like, is this in alignment with my values? Because if it's not, you need to say no, you know? So just an example. So with these brand offers that I often get, one of my core values is student-focused value. Okay. Probably not one of the values on the list of values, but what that means is that I'm incredibly laser focused at providing you value in a really focused way. So when someone says, hey, do you want to promote my leggings? I think like, is this actually going to be valuable to my people? And is this going to be worth my time? Because freedom and like freedom with my time is also one of my core values. And so I think, okay, are my people going to get value from me promoting leggings to them? No. These leggings are super cute. They're good quality. They're made in the USA, but it doesn't provide value to my audience. And you know, it distracts from what I'm actually doing, which is to help you build your business, right? Now, in terms of like freedom, I'm going to have to spend time like getting to know this product and spending time like promoting it. It's not going to be worth my time because I don't have a big following, right? Like I have a fairly small Instagram following. So I'm really not going to make much money in affiliate commission from this. The other value I have is minimalism. Huge minimalist in business. So I only like to do what I need to do. I don't like fancy extras. I don't like complicated business models. I don't like complicating what I'm doing, and I don't like complicating my offers. And this is something that I've learned throughout the years because I used to have a million different offers. I used to consider myself like multi-passionate, and really I was just stressing myself out, diluting my message and making way too much work for me. So I've really adopted minimalism in business as a value. And by adding another product to promote into my business, that actually is out of alignment with minimalism. So that's why I generally always say no to brand deals. I've actually only said yes to one so far, and that's with FullScript, the online dispensary, when they reached out to me. Because FullScript, I mean, this does provide you value, right? FullScript is an amazing online dispensary that helps you make money and that I am promoting anyways. I tell my students to use FullScript to recommend supplements for their clients. It's such a great way to recommend supplements and make money passively, which is very cool. And so that, I mean, it does provide you value by me telling you about FullScript and promoting that. And there's a high chance that my people are actually going to sign up for it because a lot of people are already using it, right? So that's literally the only brand deal I've said yes to, and that's because of my values. But I did say yes to another brand deal once. This is kind of like off topic, but I'll tell you the story. I had this swimwear company reach out, and I was like, "Oh, these swimwears are really cute," and it was like one of the first, brands that ever offered me a deal. And I was like, "Oh, this will be so good," and I thought it was really cool. And I'm like, "Oh, I'll be promoting swimwear," and they sent me this bathing suit. And I mean, I'm a curvy girl. I got curves, I got booty thigh. Boobs, all that stuff. And like I got this bathing suit that was like the largest size that they had. And it was like an X large. And it looked like it was for a 12-year-old girl. And I put this thing on and it was like total wedgie, like up my butt. Like it was like this short, like it didn't even like cover, it was ridiculous. And it was just like crappy and it was falling apart and it was like all frayed. And I was just like, I can't believe I said yes to this. But if I had really like, sat down and thought about this and been like, okay, like does my audience really care if I'm promoting swimsuits? Does that provide them value? Does this go against my, my value of like buy local? Because that's a big value for me too. I'm a big proponent of buying local and supporting small business entrepreneurship, also one of my core values. And if I had actually like sat down and sat with that for a little bit, I would have realized that this was totally out of alignment. Plus, another value of mine is body positivity and celebrating women of all shapes and sizes. And clearly, this company did not celebrate women who are not sticks, right? Anyways, so this is just a really important exercise that I have all my students do is figure out their values because it helps you make the proper business decisions because you are going to get a ton of opportunities that seem really cool and shiny. But if you actually think about them and if you truly know your core values, you're going to see that really you should be saying no to like most of these opportunities that are presented to you. Of course, there are ones that come that are amazing. And obviously say yes to those, but really, really important because the more we say yes to something, the more we're saying no to something else, right? It's really important that we have boundaries and we get hyper clear on what we're doing and stay focused and don't have all these million things that we're doing because with every new thing we add to our plate, we're taking more time and energy out of our schedule and our body, right? Okay, I hope this was helpful, guys. If you like this video, make sure to let me know by liking it, leaving me a comment, sharing it with someone who you know needs to plan for 2021, and subscribe to my channel because I post videos every single Thursday. We've got some really great videos coming out in January, some great tutorials for you. And guys, if you have any requests for videos, anything you'd like me to cover, you can shoot me a direct message at Instagram at Kendra Perry Inc. I answer all my DMs and I love hearing from you. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week and I will see you next Thursday for the next video. Bye guys.